You hatch from an egg somewhere in South America, one of thousands cracking open at the same time inside the tunnels of the colony. You're blind and can't make out anything around you, so you stay still while nurse workers move over and around you, licking your body clean and carrying you deeper into the mound. But not every larva around you gets that treatment. The ones that aren't developing fast enough get picked up and carried not to a chamber, but to the queen, who eats them to keep her own body strong enough to keep laying. You grow fast enough to avoid that. Within days, you've sealed yourself into a pupa casing, and when you crack out of it, you're a fully formed worker ant with legs, mandibles, and a stinger you don't know how to use yet. The nurses push you into the brood chamber and put you straight to work, carrying eggs from one section to another. Then one side of the tunnel wall cracks open, and water starts pushing through the gap, rolling eggs across the floor. You grab the nearest one and carry it up through the tunnel, away from the flood, while hundreds of others do the same around you. The workers at the breach do something you won't understand until later. They press their own bodies into the gap with their legs locked against the walls, using themselves to block the water until other workers can pack the hole with soil. The flood slows, then stops. The eggs are safe. You set yours down in a dry chamber and go back for another. No one told you to do that. You just did. You're a few weeks old now, and the nurses have reassigned you to the foraging trails outside the mound. The first time you come above ground, the open space above you is bigger than anything you've moved through before, so you drop your head and follow the chemical trail left by the older workers, letting it pull you forward across the soil. Up ahead, a dead cricket lies on its side with workers already cutting into its legs and body, breaking it into pieces small enough to carry. You take a section of leg and turn back toward the mound. Then a jumping spider lands directly on the trail ahead of you with its front legs raised and its eyes fixed on the workers around the cricket. It grabs the worker beside you and lifts her off the ground. You need to warn the others, so you press your abdomen to the soil and drag it forward, leaving an alarm chemical along the trail. Within seconds, workers pour out from the mound entrance and flood toward the spider from every direction, biting into its leg joints and stinging the soft skin between its eyes. The spider drops the captured worker and jumps back, but the worker it grabbed doesn't get up. You pick up your section of cricket leg and carry it the rest of the way to the mound. That alarm trail you laid was the first useful thing you've done above ground, and every worker who ran toward that spider followed a signal that came from you. You're a few months old now. A cracked piece of fruit has been sitting near the mound since early in the day, leaking juice across the soil, and you're one of the first workers to reach it. You lay a recruiting trail back to the mound straight away so the others can follow your path to the food. Workers flood out and start cutting into the fruit's pulp, but a caterpillar is feeding on the same piece, chewing through it with its full body weight pressed into the surface. It shifts sideways and crushes two workers flat without even reacting. You need to stop it from destroying the food source, so you climb onto its underside and sting it repeatedly, driving your stinger into the soft skin between its segments. Other workers follow you onto its body and do the same. The caterpillar curls hard, rolling off the fruit and landing on the soil, then starts moving away with its body still twisting. The whole group follows it, stinging every soft part they can reach until it slows down, then stops moving completely. You lay a fresh trail from its body back to the mound and the workers start cutting it apart. It takes far longer than the cricket did, but by the time the last piece is carried inside, the haul is bigger than anything the trail has brought back in days. You've learned something today. Larger food means larger risk, but it also means a bigger reward for the whole colony. You're around 6 months old now. Rain has been falling long enough that the mound has started flooding from below, forcing the whole colony out through every tunnel opening at once. The workers around you are doing something you've never seen before. They're grabbing each other, locking legs and mandibles together into a flat living platform that spreads across the water's surface with the queen, the larvae, and the eggs held dry at the center. You grab onto the outer edge and lock your legs around two workers beside you with the water pressing up against your body from below. A fish nudges the underside of the raft from below, trying to break it apart, and the workers on the bottom layer sting it through the surface of the water until it pulls back and disappears. The raft drifts for a long stretch of time before one edge catches on a root sticking out from the bank. Workers at the front stream off immediately and start digging into the soil, pulling it apart to open new tunnels. You let go of the raft and join them. The soil here is different from where you started, packed tighter and drier, but you dig anyway. The colony doesn't wait. It never does. And this new ground you've landed on already has something living in it that won't be happy you're here. You're around 1 year old now, and your body has changed. You're larger than the workers you used to forage beside, with a wider head and mandibles built for gripping rather than carrying. Your job now is the border. You patrol the outer edge of the colony's territory and align with other soldiers, checking the trails for anything that doesn't belong. Then a group of scouts from a neighboring fire ant colony crosses onto your trail with their antennae sweeping the ground, and their bodies moving in a straight line toward your mound. You can tell they're not yours from their body chemistry, so you charge. They charge back. The fighting is fast and close with mandibles locking around legs and abdomens and stingers driving into soft joints. You bite through the abdomen of one and press your stinger into the gap, then release a recruitment signal that brings soldiers flooding in from the trail behind you. The foreign scouts are outnumbered quickly and pull back, dragging their injured with them. 3 of your soldiers stay on the ground and don't move again. You stand on the border trail for a long time after the others have gone back to their posts, with your antennae sweeping the soil for any trace of the other colony. They retreated today, but a colony that scouts your border once will send a larger group next time. You're around 18 months old now. The colony has been building toward this for weeks, producing winged queens and males in a separate chamber deep in the mound. Today, those elates pour out of every tunnel opening with their wings unfolding as they hit the open air above the mound. You take a position on the outer surface with the other soldiers, forming a line around the launch site while the winged ones climb up and push off into the air above you. Then, a lizard runs straight into the middle of the group with its mouth snapping at the elates still climbing on the surface. You run at it from the side and bite into the skin behind its front leg, driving your stinger in as deep as it goes. Other soldiers hit it from every angle, targeting the soft skin around its throat and the corners of its eyes. The lizard shakes its whole body trying to throw you off, swallowing 2 elates before it turns and runs. You hold your position on the surface until the last winged ant has left the ground. Some were taken. Most made it into the air. One of those queens, if she lands in the right place, will start a new colony from nothing using the same chemical signals and the same tunnel patterns you've been following your whole life. You won't ever know if she makes it, but the colony sent her anyway. You're around 2 years old now, and your mandibles are worn enough that border patrol has been handed to younger soldiers. You've been moved underground to tunnel work, carrying soil pellets up through the network and dropping them outside while other workers dig the new chambers below. Deep in one of the lower tunnels, the workers ahead of you stop moving. A thick plant root is running straight through the expansion path, blocking the new chamber from opening in the right direction. Workers start chewing into the root's outer layer, trying to cut through it so the digging can continue. Then the root moves. Something above ground is pulling the plant out of the soil from above, and as the root tears free, the tunnel wall above the gap collapses and drops a section of packed soil directly into the chamber, burying 6 workers under it instantly. You start digging into the pile straight away, pulling chunks of soil back and carrying them up the tunnel. You get 1 worker out. The other 5 don't move when you reach them. You carry the soil from the collapse out 1 load at a time until the passage is clear enough for the workers behind you to start digging again. The new chamber gets built where the root was. It takes longer than it should have, but the colony needs the space and the work doesn't stop because 6 workers didn't make it. You're around 2.5 years old now. You're running a patrol line along the outer edge of the mound when the ground in front of you lifts and splits open. An armadillo drives its front claws into the top of the mound directly above the brood chamber, ripping the tunnel roof apart with the second strike and scattering workers in every direction. You need to slow it down, so you run up onto its leg and bite into the skin at the joint between 2 scales, pushing your stinger into the gap as far as it goes. It doesn't stop. Its claws go in again, collapsing another section of tunnel and crushing workers under the falling soil. You're still on its leg when it shifts its weight forward, pressing its body down onto the mound's surface. The pressure drives you into the soil beneath it. You try to pull your legs free, but the weight doesn't shift. Above you, the armadillo's tongue sweeps through an open chamber and pulls out brood by the hundreds. You send an alarm signal from where you're pinned, but no workers can reach you. Then the next strike comes down directly above you and the soil folds in. The signal stops. The colony keeps moving. The queen is still alive 2 chambers below, already laying again. The mound will be rebuilt in a few days, and no worker inside it will have any way of knowing you were ever there.